Okay guys, so we're going to go through the sand eel bait up. Now for anybody first starting off fishing, sand eel is a great bait for bass, rays. It's a good all-round bait really. I think I've had congers on it. 99% of the species in the sea will eat sand eel, whether they're small or big like these. Now this is sort of sand eel I'd use for like bass fishing or ray fishing preferably. It's a nice size sand eel. And the first thing I would do is I'd cut him right in beyond the back of his head. The reason I'm doing that is simple. It just releases some of the scent of the bait out. Some people will keep the tail as it is. I just try to basically snip away the end just to make it more aerodynamic. Now I'm going to stick this on a pulley rig today. Okay, so it's hook wise and rig wise, depending on the species you're fishing for. Now, if you're fishing for smaller fish and the sand eels are a lot smaller, you may be scaled down real small. But for rays sort of size baits, anything from a 3.0 up to a 5.0, if you're going for blonde rays, even bigger. I mean, I'll fish a big large sand eel bait with a rapper squid on, and I'd fish like a 7.0 on them for blonde rays. But for this, what I'm using in now, ideal setup, I've got a 3.0 now, so this is the sort of thing I'd use for a spotted ray. It's basically on a pulley rig. So there's a lot of different ways to do it, but what I find is some people will basically come all the way down through the eel. I like to hide the trace line. So what I normally tend to do is start up the top of the eel like so, okay, and then I'll basically just bring him up over the hook as much as I can. If they're frozen, it tends to be a bit tricky. These are a little bit thawed out now, so you can just basically put him straight on, okay? All I'm doing, you wouldn't get away with doing this with a frozen, but because it's slightly defrosted, I'm bringing him right down through like that. See that? So the hook points like that. Now, man's best friend, bait elastic. Okay, so it don't make no difference really. I've got really fine bait elastic, so I'm just going to wrap it really around the hook shank like so. It's very important that you leave the hook point proud, okay? So now I'll come up around the back of the eel like this, and then all I'm doing is basically wrapping the eel up to the top. Now some people will use a pennel hook. I would, if I'm specifically targeting rays, I would use a pennel hook. If I'm bassing off the beach, same as Nick, when Nick does a lot of his bassing, I think you'll find that 9 times out of 10 he'll probably use a similar bait up that I've done there now. Got a bait stop on the top just to basically bring him down through, but it's you can trim off the other bits and pieces if you want, just to make him a bit more. That's perfect. If I'm using ray baits, I'd have the pennel slip down there and I'd bring the pennel up through the top. But well presented, that line down on the bottom in the on the seabed is a perfect bait there just for a fish to come across and nab. And especially on the right rig, going like that in the tide is a perfect attractor for a fish to come along and snatch it. But as I said, sand eel would be 9 times out of 10 the #1 bait I would take out when I'm fishing.